How do you reduce the risk of starting a business? It's a valid concern. Maybe you're excited about the idea of being an entrepreneur, starting your own business, but it seems really risky. And we're going to talk about some things that you can do to reduce that risk. Now, when we're talking about risk and business, risk is important. It's something that you have to embrace, but at the same time, we're probably not thinking about the same type of risk because I'm a risk-averse person. I don't feel like I do things that are risky. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of different ways, a lot of things that you can do that will just eliminate risk so that this journey is successful and you're not gambling or you're not taking excessive risk. If you're thinking about the risk of business like gambling or something like that, where you're just putting money in hopes that you're going to win, or you're buying a lottery ticket hoping that you're going to get this big windfall, that's nothing like what we're talking about. I don't approve of that. I think gambling is pretty stupid. What I want to recommend that you do instead is to risk only what you can afford to lose. So that's kind of the first place to start. If you have some money that you're going to invest in something, what's the worst case scenario? What if you lose that entire investment? What if it doesn't work out? So typically, you're not going to put a huge amount of money into something. If you're starting a business and you talk to a website designer and they tell you, oh yeah, this is going to be a $30,000 website, like that's a pretty significant amount of money in the very beginning. What if you just got a $500 website to start? Or what if you don't even need a website to start, right? I mean, you can put some money into it, but think about that. What if I put this money into the website and it doesn't bring me any customers or clients right off the bat? Then I spent money, but yet I don't have a return. So that's something that you need to consider, because some of the things that you think you need early on, you don't. And just by understanding that you don't need those things, you can eliminate that risk altogether. Now, a lot of the times the risk that we're talking about is a financial risk, but early on in your business, you can invest time instead of money. Now, time is super valuable, but when you're investing your time, even if it fails, you still gain something because you're learning. Entrepreneurship is all about learning. Entrepreneurship is like a school or a university of life. You're going to learn how to overcome problems, but you're going to gain business wisdom as you do this. When you just spend money on something and it doesn't work, I mean, you learn, but you lose a lot. You lose a lot of value. When you invest your time, a lot of times you're learning along the way. Your hands in the game, and because you're so aware of what's going on, you're going to use your time wise. You're going to be able to make pivots and adjustments along the way. Let's say you've got a marketing campaign and you're going to invest some money into it. You're turning that money over to somebody else to do the marketing, and you might check in after a week, you might check in after a couple weeks and realize, we need to make some adjustments here. This isn't, but you've already spent all this budget for 2 weeks of marketing. But instead, let's say you went out and knocked doors, or you made phone calls, you spent some time on the phone. Within a couple of hours or a half day, you'd have a good feel of how it was working. And I need to adjust the script here, or I need to do this, or whatever you're learning, you can make pivots and adjustment and you don't lose any money. You spent your time learning. The third point I want to share is just to talk about proper expectations. I don't know how to tell you what proper expectations are for you in your business, but what we tend to do is kind of inflate the possibilities, or having unrealistic expectations, and we take risks thinking, this is, a year from now, my business is going to be at $6 million of revenue, so I can make these choices now. That's where I've seen a lot of businesses get into trouble. Or I could say I've gotten into trouble by thinking something's going to happen and making decisions as if it already has. So if there's anything that I could do to help you jump ahead 5 or 10 years just in business wisdom, I would try and give you the ability to just pause and really think about it. Try and weigh the decision you're making on, is this a real need? Or is it a want? Is it something that I'm just totally excited about, but do I really need it? Can you make that mature decision? Okay, now let's talk about debt. Now, my recommendation to you is just to avoid debt, especially in the beginning, especially when you feel like you need it. Banks will give you debt when you need it at a high cost. You're going to be paying a high interest rate. And when you're new in business, you don't have the experience to know how to spend it, to know how to get a return, how to really use that risk, because debt, of course, is risky. And in the beginning, you don't need debt. You think, well, I need funding. And you hear all these stories of venture capital and going to a bank to get a startup loan so that you can start this. But there's so many unknowns. There's so many things that are going to be totally different. If you get a loan for a certain purpose, I 99% guarantee you that you're going to spend that money in another way just because things pivot so early on in the beginning. And then you've got this amount of money that you're paying interest on. It's actually surprising how little you need to get started in business. Now, I've made another episode on that. You can find it on my channel. But when you're talking about a website or business cards or this advertising or whatever you think you need to make yourself look like a legitimate business, you actually don't need those things. So we're talking about debt. You don't actually need to go into debt to be able to buy those things yet. Just start generating revenue. Now, on that conversation of marketing, there's organic marketing that you can do. I mean, you see what I'm doing on this channel. You see the strategy that I teach on how to grow an organic YouTube channel. Don't do paid advertising, especially in the beginning. I recommend following the steps that I teach in this book and grow an organic following and generate leads organically on YouTube. The next thing that we should discuss is profit margins. Now, I didn't really understand what profit was. Now, of course, I understood the definition, kind of, but not in real application. What I thought profit was is if my business is making this much money and my expenses are right here, then I've got a profitable business. And I counted my own income in there because I knew that I needed to, to pay myself to be able to provide a livelihood. But I thought that would be a profitable business, but it's not. A profitable business would look like this. So you've got this much revenue and this much expenses, including my own income or salary that I'm paying myself. And so when you have more money on top of that to put money into savings, man, that takes away so much risk. I operated my business for 8.5 years like this until I learned that. If you can jump ahead and charge the amount that you need for your services so that profit is included in there, that will remove a lot of risk for you. Now, hopefully this next point doesn't offend you, but I'm going to recommend that you have a solid work ethic, that you're willing to just work. A lot of people start a business, but they don't really put in the time necessary. They take a lot of breaks because you're your own boss. If you're transitioning from being an employee to your own business owner, now you're the boss. See, when you were an employee, there was a taskmaster that made sure that they were getting their money's worth out of you, that you're putting in the hours, right? Well, you've got to be that taskmaster for yourself. You've got to have the discipline to put in, say 8 hours a day. One other benefit of having high margins and having money in savings is you will have cancellations. Sometimes we don't think about that, but you'll have somebody that will demand a refund, and that can hurt. But if you've got high enough margins for that, if you've got money in savings, then that takes away that risk. All right, this next one is pretty important. So if you can just tune out everything and just pay attention to this one, okay? You need to spend your time on money-making activities. Okay, we talked about website design or logo design, or you could research your target market, creating the best list of all these prospects, or right? But what brings you revenue when you're actually having sales conversations? All the prep work, all the research, all the setup, that is just delaying it. It's not bringing in any revenue. So if you're looking at your schedule of your week, I'm going to say 80% of your time needs to just be out there. Even if you don't feel ready, you're really never going to feel ready. Okay, so you need to act. And you need to give yourself permission to make some mistakes, to have some conversations where you just totally say it wrong. Things aren't going to be perfect, but you need to be doing those money-making activities so that you can actually generate revenue if you want your business to have a chance at succeeding. So there is a risk to starting a business. I mean, the biggest one that I can think of, when we say we have a job, we're an employee for a company, we've got security. And when we take the leap, we quit our job and we start our own business, that security's gone. We've got to provide for ourselves. We've got to make enough revenue in our business that we can cover our expenses, that we can cover all of our costs. So let's talk about this risk, right? We're really talking about what if I don't make enough money? Because in a job, you know how much money you're going to make, right? It's already planned in advance. You're going to get that check. You know how much they're going to withdraw for taxes. In your own business, that's the risk. It's like, what if I don't make? And I've had plenty of months where I made zero. Okay, but let me tell you what happens. There's a fire that ignites. The more pressure there is, the more you will try to figure it out if you commit to stick to it. It's not the most pleasant part. Like, being an entrepreneur isn't an easy thing. And when the fire gets turned on, that's when you learn the most. That's when you experiment and try. You're just not going to give up. And If you keep at it, you will succeed. Now, I don't know if your success is going to take as long as mine. My financial roller coaster was 8.5 years. I've been in business now for 13 years. So 8.5 years is pretty significant. Do you have the stick-to-itness to be able to stick with it for 8.5 years? Hopefully the information I share on this channel will help you take some shortcuts in doing that. You can learn some of the lessons that took me quite a while to learn. I also want to give you a gift that will help you on your journey. Now, when we were talking about organic marketing, I've created a strategy of how to generate leads on YouTube. So this is that organic marketing. I've got 2 versions, and I'm going to give you this book for free. Now you need to cover my costs. The cost to print the paperback is $11.15. The reason it costs more than I expected is I did it full color. There's a lot of visuals that I show in here because it's YouTube, and you've got to see some things. The hardcover, my costs are $25 and like 54 cents, something like that. So if you cover the costs and the shipping, no profit to me. That's why this is my gift to you. It's called A Hero's Guide to Influence on YouTube. You can get these books on Amazon, but if you want to get it what we call the free plus shipping, then go to natesyoutubebook.com.